Let me know if you figured out another way. But my understanding of how to do anything that should sort of come naturally to you anyway is to go back to the original point of where something shifted and it stopped being the natural, healthy, intelligent response to your life. Hey y'all, it's Chimdi. So I am back to answer another question from the audience. This one is from the lovely Sarah, and she asked me how to stop thinking in black and white, all or nothing terms, because this is something that she really struggles with. And I can really identify with this struggle. I know growing up, achievement was very, very, very important to me. And to be honest, it was because that was how the economy of love, which is a term Thomas Hubel uses, that was the way the economy of love in my family was set up. It was around getting good grades. Truly just at the time, academic accomplishment was the biggest thing. So I really spent a lot of energy in being in the top of my class. And I'm a smart person, so it wasn't like it was hard, but it became that I tied a lot of my self-worth to how well I was doing in school and graduating at the top of my class and getting a scholarship to college and all these different things. That was how I measured like my value. And of course, it's really challenging because, you can control how you perform in certain ways in terms of how hard you work, but there are other things that truly are just kind of out of your hands. And so if you find yourself not being number one in things that you can't really control, that ends up being really difficult to reckon with because it makes you doubt your own inherent value. As a creator here on YouTube, it's very easy for me to compare myself to others and to want to be at the top, right? I think of that Ricky Bobby movie, Talladega Nights, where he says, if you're not first, you're last, and how like really stifling and harmful of a mindset that is, as we saw in the movie, as it was for him, and how it was in my own experience, because it really reduces the process and the pleasure of creating because you're just focused on the outcome. Something Eckhart Tolle once said, he was talking about how a lot of our life, we spend a lot of our time focused on the big moments, like the big events in our life, but actually those make up such a small fraction of our actual life. And he uses this metaphor of he's a speaker, and so when he's got like a big event that he's speaking in front of, what allows him to actually stay connected to himself and to the moment is he just thinks like of all of the steps in between what he is doing and where he is now and this big moment, and how many of them are in fact very small steps. So waking up in the morning, which is something we do every morning, getting out of bed, brushing his teeth, taking a shower, the walk from where he lives to the car downstairs, sitting in the car, going on the ride, being backstage, sitting backstage, walking out to the audience, sitting down, speaking. Like this huge big deal is actually, when you look at it, a series of much smaller deals. And that's how he's able to get from being very like overwhelmed. He doesn't say this because I don't think that's where he is in his life right now, but that's how you can get from a feeling of being very overwhelmed by the enormity of a situation and instead just realize that it is in fact a series of small steps. And when I think about my own creativity on YouTube, for instance, or even things like building my coaching business, things that sort of invite me to stretch and grow and do more and be more and show up in different ways. When I just think of the end product, when you think about manifestations, what you're supposed to do is just think about the end. But in reality, it's not really as fun for me because sitting here and turning on my camera and talking to you, this is really fun. I really enjoy this part. And then later I'll take the memory card out of the camera and I'll connect it to my laptop and then I'll do my little editing and then I'll upload it. And that's fun too. And going on the roof and doing a thumbnail photo shoot, that's also very fun. So for me, it's all the process in between. And I've noticed I've been able to show up a lot more because I've really released myself from all the expectations I would put on the outcome. So I used to say, well, I want the final product to look like this. So highly edited, a ton of B-roll. I want the comment section to be popping, a lot of engagement. I want the views to be high, a lot of views. I want all the videos to go, I want every single video to go viral. I might have this great time creating, but then if the final outcome doesn't match how I think it's gonna look, or if it doesn't get a bunch of views, then I'm sad. And then like whatever excitement I had about creating more, I'll look at my analytics and I'll be like, no one cares, no one's watching. And that makes me less excited about doing it again. So I had to create for myself methods of truly blocking myself from looking at some of these things because at the time it really was distracting for me. Now I can check and look and I'm instead more connected to my process. So being able to sit here and speak openly and vulnerably and talk to you all about, my journey and my healing and all the stuff I'm going through. And also really emphasizing the comment section and people who are sharing their experiences and what resonates with them. And then my coaching and getting to actually have one-on-one conversations with people and actually meaningfully see the difference that I'm making making in their life through my creative work and the things that I love to do. And by putting my focus on these things, I'm able to release the pressure of trying to achieve this external thing, because I've also realized that the external thing isn't really going to make me happy. And so it was interesting when I was taking notes about this and thinking about the question of how to do something. Let me know if you figured out another way. But my understanding of how to do anything that should sort of come naturally to you anyway is to go back to the original point of where something shifted and it stopped being the natural, healthy, intelligent response to your life. What I would assume is that at some point early in your life, there was maybe like a high stakes feeling kind of situation. I feel like First or Last, Black and White is very high stakes energy, and there's also not a lot of complexity. It's very straightforward, which to me feels like a very young energy, to be like, it's all or it's nothing. Because as an adult and as a mature adult, you know, there's so many shades of gray. So if there's a mindset of like, no, it's black or white, no gray, that means at a much younger time, it did feel more existential to have or do whatever it was. And without that thing, it felt like there was truly nothing, which is a very intense emotion to have in your heart. And often in these kind of Q&A videos, I've been telling folks to essentially get resourced so you can feel the feelings associated with those early memories. For things that are that sort of existential, that is a lot of fear. And so you really do need to feel very safe in your own body, in your own heart, and then in your community and the people that you're with and who you're talking to, so that you can actually access these really intense emotions. And they will know that if they come up, they're not going to overwhelm and wreck you, because the feelings are not going to come up unless you are ready to really deal with them. And I also like to emphasize the intelligence of our bodies and our systems to help us survive. And so when thinking about how a framework like all or nothing, black or white, has really helped you to survive, I think will also give clues on sort of how to shift that framework into something that's more expansive. When I think about our younger selves, what we really need, I think we need it our whole life, which is becoming and belonging and truly being safe to be your full self, and being safe to feeling safe in your community where you are a part and you are embedded within your community, whether it's your family, your friend group. At some point, that sort of high stakes energy was very important to I need to either belong, I'm either in or out of this group. And it's important that I know how to navigate in my world so that I can belong to this group. Or I'm either accepted or I'm not accepted as who I am. And so it's very important that I control myself and show up in a certain way so that I can get what I need. I'm either loved or I'm not loved. So I need to do what I need to do so that I can feel this love, because without this feeling of love, I'm in this like desolated, empty, lonely place. And as a young person, we need community, we need connection, we need to be expressed, we need to belong. And so we figure out which systems work to allow us to get that kind of expression. So these are sort of the frameworks that I would sort of give you. I think without having a specific, like knowing a little bit more about your specific journey, I can't get too deep. But I think that's what I'd say is sort of looking back at your life. When did that start, this desire to kind of be all in or all out? How did it serve you? And then how do you get love and feel safe and belong? And how does this framework support that feeling of safety and belonging? One metaphor I like that I love, and it's from Thomas Hubel as well, is around meditation. Someone asked him a question around meditation and how you can do it consistently and all these things. And he used this expression that meditation isn't something you do, it's something that descends upon you. And every time you meditate, it's like there's a wall, like a tall wall, and every meditation creates a small window in that wall. And so you may not find after your first time meditating that anything's really changed in your life. Maybe even after your 5th or your 10th time, but over time, you're just opening these windows, letting in this light, letting in this air. And over time, this experience sort of comes into your life and changes how you show up in the world. And if you miss a day or you miss even a week of meditating, that doesn't undo all of the meditations you did in the past. So the work that we've poured into ourselves, the energy we've spent pouring into ourselves, pouring into our activities and the things we love to do, that doesn't go away, you know? Like every video I've made on YouTube, if it doesn't pop off and become a viral hit, that doesn't negate the fact that I took the time to sit down and talk to you and share my story in whatever way. There are so many videos that I've hidden only because they just didn't get enough views. Like I love the video, I think it's great, but because other people didn't say, I like it too, I'm like, okay, well then it isn't worth being seen. And so I know I personally still have a lot of work to do, and I'm excited to do that work, because whenever I expand and heal these parts of myself that are still attaching my inner worth to outside people, outside approval, I get so much more energy and so much more courage to show up honestly as I want to be and not feel like I have to shrink or be small, and it's directly tied to my success. So the more I show up in this authentic way, the more success I get. So it's very encouraging to do that work. So I hope this is helpful for you, Sarah. If you want to actually do a one-on-one and kind of get into it more, you can check the Calendly. That's the case for all of y'all. Big shout out to my Patreon people. Y'all remain the best. Thank you for the support. Let me know in the comments if you have any other questions or things you'd like me to talk about, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.